Welcome everybody, this is How to English, Teach and Learn with Gav and Em.
It's a podcast about teaching and learning English as a foreign language.
All opinions stated are personal and references will be given where possible.
Hello!
Hi!
How's it going?
It's going very well. I wonder if, before we start, Em, we should talk about the fact that we're not actually teacher trainers, we're not actually working on behalf of any particular organisation,
No.
And we're definitely not experts in the field that we are going to talk about next.
We are not, but we have experienced it, so we can at least talk about it from our personal opinion.
Exactly, that's a really good point, our personal points of view, because today's episode is episode 41, What I got. Oh, do you want it learned or got?
Don't mind.
Okay, well, I quite like what I got from because it sounds
All right,
very
ready?
informal.
1, 2, 3. What I got from the CELTA. That's hard to do together.
It is really
What
difficult.
does CELTA mean, Gav?
It means the Certificate in Teaching English to Speakers of Other Languages.
Is that what it stands for then? CELTA. What does CE?
It stands for Certificate in English Language Teaching to Adults, but it's now known as the Certificate in Teaching English to Speakers of Other Languages.
But we say CELTA, don't we? Really?
We do.
Within our industry.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Should we talk about the CELTA?
Yes. Well, I said what does it stand for? What does it mean? But what is it is what I'd like to know.
Well, I've done a little bit of digging.
Thought you might have done, which is why I asked you that question.
Okay.
I mean, I've done a CELTA, so I know.
Let me just introduce the background. So according to cactuslanguages.com, they refer to it as the most widely recognised TEFL qualification in the world. And according to passthecelta.com, the pass rate is about 67%. 20% pass B, 5% fail, 3% drop out. With over 10,000 candidates gaining the qualification each year. University of Cambridge accredited qualification.
Which I think sometimes confuses people because they think it is maybe you have to go to Cambridge to study it, or that somehow Cambridge sends representatives to the place that you're studying. But it doesn't mean that, does it? It literally just means it's accredited to Cambridge. The stamp on the certificate that you get at the end has got a little Cambridge thing on it.
The trainers would be qualified by Cambridge, yes.
Yes.
Exactly.
But that doesn't mean anybody went to the city of Cambridge or comes from the city of Cambridge.
Well,
don't expect to see... Well, what do you mean, well?
No, they didn't. I didn't.
You haven't
anyway.
got to be from Cambridge.
True.
Okay.
Widely required by employers.
Yes, it is.
Okay, tell me if you disagree with any of these. Next one is no expiry date.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
That's a good point, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
And you can finish it in 4 weeks, which is, of course, with 120 contact hours.
Is that the fastest you can get it then?
As far as I know, yeah. You can't do much more intensive than 4 weeks.
No.
And it can lead to the DELTA, which we're not going to talk about, but that is the Diploma in Teaching English to Speakers of Other Languages, which is equivalent to the Master's Degree qualification. So CELTA can lead to DELTA.
Well, you think do you need a CELTA to do a DELTA?
I knew you'd ask me something like that.
not-
I didn't dig that deeply,
No,
but I
okay.
think it's assumed that most people, unless they're coming from a more academic background, more university, rather than our TEFL teaching way.
Okay. So I think most companies who are looking for teachers do require some kind of qualification. So CELTA is definitely a good one to have.
Yes.
A lot of places expect a degree of some kind and a CELTA. That's
Right.
the standard job advertisement.
Yes.
We expect.
Yeah, when you look at jobs boards, it often says CELTA or equivalent TEFL qualification plus university degree. Not always.
No, not always, but that is a good way in, I think, if you've got the CELTA. So it's definitely going to open some doors.
It is. So I know that we both have experience of doing the CELTA in a beautiful little city in Central Europe called Budapest.
Yes.
And the school was IH.
Budapest.
Would you like me to tell you what it has under their course content on their
All
webpage?
right, yeah, tell me. It was a long time ago that I did it, so I'd like to refresh my memory.
I don't want to test you because
No,
that wouldn't
please
be very
don't
useful.
test me.
Okay.
The CELTA was enough of a test. I don't need a test now.
Exactly. Okay. About the course content, syllabus includes focusing on language awareness.
Language awareness, which I think means like the analysis of words and their meaning and the structure of grammar and how it all fits together.
Exactly.
And deep diving into all of that.
That's
and
it,
showing you
vocabulary.
understand it.
Yep.
I think there were some workshops about, or seminars or whatever. What is the word? The training section that dealt with it. I think there were a few grammar-based afternoons.
Yep.
But I think that came into effect when you planned your lessons, that you had to show you understood how it all worked.
Yes. Yes, grammar awareness. I think it wasn't a big part of the course.
No.
But as you said, it was something you might need to do additionally to
Yeah.
the actual in-house studies.
Which is a very interesting thing, because I think when I went there, I expected to have a lot of tests about, what's this word and how is it like this, and how, and the sort of language of describing language. But it sort of assumes you know all that, I think.
Yeah.
So there's not too much of that, which I think for people from the UK maybe was a bit of a shock, because we didn't all have that background in school, perhaps, to know all of that stuff in advance.
Yes. Additionally, there is the learner, the teacher, and the teaching learning context.
What's that? You mean demonstration lessons? Is that what that would be?
I think it's recognising what a learner is, what a teacher is, and the different contexts. So maybe how, when, where, why. Mm-hmm. Yeah?
Yeah. Well, I'm just thinking about, like, in terms of what I did when I did the CELTA. So you write your lesson plan, and then you have to teach it to a selected or guinea pig group.
Yes.
So that would mean, you've got that again activated. Mm-hmm. What is it? Putting theory into practice? Is that the phrase?
That sounds about right, yeah. Mm-hmm. Planning for effective teaching of adults.
Yeah, it is only adults on a CELTA.
That's correct.
Which is what the A means, yeah.
Exactly. Classroom management and teaching skills.
Okay, so that falls into the whole showing the way you teach it.
That's
and
it.
How you pair people up, making sure that activities are varied and...
Thinking about the physical space.
Yes, I remember there was a whole thing about the chairs and the position of the table, and thinking all before the students even come in the room.
I'd never even seen a diagram of a classroom
First
before.
time I'd heard horseshoe connected to teaching.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
Horseshoe in the chairs, yeah.
And resources and materials.
Yeah, okay.
Which was particularly good in International House Budapest.
It was amazing. They had a whole library, if I remember, all books, the go-to books that you need. Mm-hmm. And the books they chose, I think, for us to use, it was a lot of getting out of the book. I think the CELTA I did focused on sort of using the books, but as a base, but not as the focus. So how do you change this page to be
exploiting materials, I think,
that's
came
the
up.
word. That's the right word. Exploiting the materials. So making it less book focused.
Yes.
And that really helped me, like, to open my mind to ways of presenting things and making them more interesting. Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I thought when they give you the book that you just teach from the book, but actually I learned so much from that.
Yeah, me too. And I think that's really been my foundation, because I did 1 year teaching before the CELTA and had no clue what I was doing. Uh-huh. So then when the CELTA happened, I sort of learned how to teach in that organic way. Mm-hmm. So I didn't really have that prescriptive, boring, academic, theoretical way of teaching. Mm-hmm. So I think that's been a real benefit to me. My students appreciate, definitely.
That's really good. And then finally, professional development.
Which is what?
I think we had that at the end of the CELTA, where they said, this is a jobs board, these are some websites you can visit.
What's next?
And then gently pushed us out the door into the real world.
Like, they open their hands and they let us fly away and be teachers, real teachers in the world. Yeah, you're right. They didn't just leave you hanging. It was step-toeing, no. Hand-holding, no. What's the word? Like, when you make it possible to go to the next step.
Step by step.
Step by step. Is that what I'm thinking of? Yeah, maybe. Sort of.
Increments.
Yeah. increments, slow release. I don't know.
We don't have enough time to wait for you to
I'm
remember
sorry.
the words.
I might get it later. So
Okay.
yeah, definitely. It was a full and very comprehensive package. Definitely.
Yeah, and pretty intense. I think we're going to go into details in a minute. That was basically a summary of the course content. So thank you to IH Budapest and their fabulous team. But we're going to talk about them in a bit.
Right.
So they mentioned 6 hours of teaching time, which is...
Over the 4 weeks, you mean?
Yeah,
in total.
That's
yeah.
it. Different levels and written assignments. I think there might be 4 written assignments in all.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh, goodness me. It's bringing back some, what they call night sweats.
Well, I wrote some adjectives down just to kind of...
I would love to hear your adjectives, Em.
Incredible was the first one. Incredibly rewarding.
Okay.
Possibly the most challenging thing I've ever done in my
Really?
life.
Wow.
Incredibly stressful.
Okay.
Draining.
Incredibly draining?
Draining, yeah, just draining.
What do you mean draining? Like emotionally,
Everything.
physically,
Yeah, emotionally, physically.
financially?
A little bit. It wasn't cheap, but yeah.
But less than £1,000 according to their website.
It was one of the cheapest available,
Okay.
which was amazing,
Yeah.
considering the standard of it. So yeah, I think it was a lot and enjoyable, definitely. Really enjoyable and useful.
Yeah.
Practical, lots of positives.
There are a lot of really positive words there.
Yeah.
Have you also got some negative words?
Well, I've told you, like draining. You asked me what drain. Yeah, I didn't expect it to be emotionally draining, actually.
Was it?
Or physically. I don't know what I thought. It was, it was just like a bubble of intensity. And I've never experienced anything before or since quite that intense, to be honest.
Wow.
Sleep wasn't easy. And what I would recommend to people who want to do the CELTA, and if they do it in a country that's not, if they're not staying at home and doing it, I know like at the moment we can't travel very much, but if you do intend to do it in another country, book a week either side, just so you can actually see the place you're in.
That's a 6-week holiday. Who can afford a 6-week holiday?
Well, I think often the schools like set you up with some short-term renting accommodation.
Okay. Or host family or something.
Yeah, so you haven't got to pay out like hotel prices.
Okay.
So I would just say try and stay even a week longer or maybe a week before you start, because you'll be exhausted at the end. Because I remember nothing of Budapest. Absolutely nothing of it. It was literally eat, breathe, sleep. Is that how it goes? Study, yeah.
Okay.
I just didn't stop to even look around. It was just like every day.
That was my experience as
go.
well. But first of all, you did mention prior to studying on the CELTA, did you do any preparations? You've told us already that you were teaching for 1 year. So you'd already dipped a toe into the metaphorical bath of teaching.
Beautiful. Mm-hmm.
But did you actually do preparation before?
I did an online TEFL.
Oh, right. Okay.
Which was nothing compared to the CELTA.
Okay.
It did not prepare me for the CELTA really. In maybe the way that I was thinking, like just about lesson planning and structure.
Did it not? Because I did an online one as well. I thought it was absolutely brilliant.
It was brilliant, yeah.
It was actually very, very similar to what I did on the CELTA.
All right, sorry. I don't mean to say it wasn't in any way connected. I just mean it didn't prepare me for the level of intensity or difficulty of the CELTA. But no, it was a good stepping stone. Maybe it was, a stepping stone. That's what I was trying to think of. It was a good stepping stone to the CELTA.
Okay.
You're right. It did do some, similar analysis and stuff like that.
Right.
So tell me a bit about your experience.
Well, I want to know more about your preparations, because I actually got the CELTA book. I think there's a little manual you can read beforehand. And I got most of the way through it.
Before you did the CELTA?
Yes, and it gave me some really good tips how to prepare, and it started me thinking about the things that we've already touched on already.
Yeah. Gav, would you like a tea?
I only drink coffee.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think that could be arranged.
Oh?
Followers, if you enjoy listening, watching or reading Gav and Em's How to English Pod, visit coffee.com/How to English Pod.
That's coffee, ko-fi.com/How to English Pod. And it would be lovely if you bought us a tea or a coffee to show us support. You could even get a mention on our show if you'd like. So that was good. And a bit of language. And I think it went into lesson planning and sort of just breaking down the preparation time, the delivery of lessons, and then feedback, like hot feedback or
Hot feedback, yeah, I remember.
cold
hot
feedback.
Yeah.
Or just your meditative...
Microwaved feedback.
Meditations on the actual experience of teaching.
Where was that book from? Was that issued by Cambridge?
I think it was. I think it might have been one of their official books. But that was
Okay.
really useful. I wonder if I did a couple of lesson plans beforehand. But there might have been a pre-course... Was there a pre-course task? I'm not sure now.
I think maybe, I don't know, can anyone go on the CELTA just by paying for it? Does that get you on?
I think you have to be at least C1 level.
Yeah,
But
okay.
I think you might have some kind of interview. You might need to pass something. Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know the details.
Tell me more then about your sort of feelings when you were doing it. Were they the same as mine?
They were very similar, actually. I did think it was a really intense experience. I didn't realise it would be that difficult. I think I realised that I'm not a very academic person.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I had some teaching experience beforehand, the same as you mentioned. But I was a bit more, how can I say it? A bit more spontaneous in my teaching.
Okay.
And then I realised on the CELTA it was more kind of prescriptive. It was quite practical, and it made me sort of ground my way of teaching.
Well, I think maybe the word would have been, did you say spontaneous? Yeah, so in a way that you don't think through like what it is you're doing so much beforehand, you will just do it in the moment. And it works, but maybe that's where the CELTA is a bit more like you have to have it all written down, exactly staged and, you know, bit by bit, which you could argue is perhaps one of the disadvantages of that kind of lesson planning to that extent.
It could be both an advantage and a disadvantage. I often think of it and I compare it to doing the driving test, where you have to go through a particular routine and you're following, you know, you're looking in the mirror, you're checking there's nobody overtaking you as you're pulling away and things like that. And you kind of, you go through that very specific routine.
Checklist.
So when you pass the driving test, you sit back, you've got one hand on the steering wheel, you know, you might glance in the mirror now and then. And that's it's quite a similar thing, isn't it? That's quite a good metaphor, really.
Yeah, I agree. You don't totally disregard what you've learnt, but you are more relaxed about it.
Yes.
Which I think is a good comparison, actually.
Yeah, you take some things for granted, I think.
Yeah.
You've got that knowledge. But the CELTA really helps you organise those thoughts and put them into a very structured way of the...
I felt that way. I felt like it was definitely a grounding, and obviously you're not going to spend 3 hours planning every lesson, which you did on the CELTA. So once you've done that, though, I think it does get you into the habit of thinking, well, why am I doing it and what's the purpose? And, you know, it was all about that, like what's the reason for this step or stage?
Exactly.
And it makes you analyse it.
You had to justify everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a real eye-opener for me, and that made me think, that is really important. Why am I doing this? What is the benefit for my students? How does it fit into the lesson? I think, as you said, there were long days. There were many sleepless nights.
Yeah.
I remember sitting, writing these papers, writing lesson plans. It didn't come to me easily, but I got there in the end, but it took a lot of willpower.
Right, okay. Yeah, I think I remember being more exhausted on the days because you do the demo lesson or you teach, you know, you do your lesson plan and then you teach. You didn't teach every day.
That's right.
You had like a day off between.
Observation, teach.
Yeah, and I felt actually worse on the days where I wasn't teaching just because I was able to stop for a second and think, and then it would sort of hit me like how hard it was.
As the adrenaline was sort of stopped pumping through your body.
That's
and then
it.
You were suddenly absolutely exhausted.
Yeah, it was like a bit of a roller coaster of like adrenaline. I think that's a really good way to describe it. But the hot feedback thing was amazing, just to come out of that demo lesson and then write down how you felt.
Yes.
And it really was like, immediate.
Definitely. And observing other trainees was really interesting because you not only got some really good tips like, oh, that's a really good way to teach that. I would never have thought of that, or how to exploit the materials or whatever. But also you see possibly some terrible teaching and you think to yourself, oh, do I do that? Are my arms that distracting? Am I flapping them around like that? Do I keep saying, you know what I mean? Or, okay.
Yeah, so you know how not to do it as well from
Yeah.
watching others.
Exactly.
And I mean, the real takeaway I got from it as well is it's never going to be that hard ever again. Like once you've done a CELTA, you can sort of go out and do any kind of teaching. It's never going to be as stressful as
Hopefully.
sitting there with possibly 6 people, guinea pigs,
Yeah.
students,
Yeah.
6 teachers, potential teachers, and possibly 2 trainers watching you
Yeah.
and making notes.
Yeah.
And then telling you afterwards what they liked and what
Whether
they
you
didn't
passed
like.
or failed.
It's not going to be like that again. So,
That's
it's
true.
great. And you
No.
haven't got a choice. You've just got to do it.
No observation's ever going to be that stressful. No, you're right. That's true. So I remember the 2 Neils. Do you remember the 2 Neils?
2 Neils,
Okay.
the legends that are the 2 Neils.
That's it.
Yes.
And they've published that amazing book about TBT, Activities for Task-Based Learning on Delta Press.
Fantastic.
I
Yeah.
totally recommend that. I'm going to put some links in the show notes. I remember Z.
Z, yes.
I remember Sandra.
Yes.
And loads of other really fantastic teachers. We had the opportunity also to meet some Australian guy. There was an American.
Egyptian, Israeli. I
yeah.
think. Yeah, it was a great mix of people
It was amazing, really amazing experience meeting.
who were doing the CELTA with us. You mean
Yeah,
the
yeah.
actual CELTEs, are they?
Trainees, but CELTEs,
Trainees,
I like
yeah.
that. Yeah, so you get a chance to meet people from all over the world if you're lucky.
Yep, that was brilliant. Great environment, and the trainers were just amazing. I don't think I was aware how good they were at
No.
the time. It's only really in hindsight that I've looked back
Yeah.
to say, wow, because they demonstrated exactly what it was they were teaching
Yeah.
by doing. It wasn't just theoretical, this is how you should do a lesson. They always showed us by doing it.
Yes.
And then we took on their sort of strategies and
Yeah,
their technique.
So you had that double level, which was amazing. It's
Yeah,
so amazing
exactly.
to follow that.
I used to go out of the room and just be like, oh, I really need to think about that, like how it was so cleverly
Yeah.
given to us in that
Yeah.
way. And you can't take it all in at the time, but
No.
it is just a great place and a
Mhm.
great environment. I don't know what it's like now, but when I was there, it was incredible.
Yeah, I'm sure there's lots of really good centres.
I'd
Now
like to know actually about other people's experiences
Yeah,
in
me
different
too.
places and how well they got on, and
Mhm.
if the standard was as good. If
Mhm.
it's like I guess it's regulated by Cambridge, but
Yep.
obviously it's up to the trainers how they present and deliver it.
Yes.
So it would be nice to know how others have got on with it.
Yeah, it's good because hopefully it's going to be a certain standard. And but what if I just said a few key words and see if these bring back sweats or elation?
All right. Yeah.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
The first one is video.
Video. I think there was one video. One afternoon, hard to stay awake. I was so
Okay.
tired.
that wasn't
remember.
the highlight for you. Okay,
No.
okay. Next one, Cuisenaire rods.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Oh, what are they? Cuisenaire rods. The only time I've ever heard the word in the CELTA.
Thanks to Sandra for that one.
Yes, thanks to Sandra. What were they? Was it something to do with pronunciation?
I think she got was it a short straw? Actually, that fits
They
quite well. doesn't
were.
it?
They were all sort of blocks, were they? Or something?
That's right.
What were they for?
And you put them in order of you can use them for sentences, for
Yeah.
stress.
Word length.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's good.
Great.
Cuisenaire rods. The silent way or the silent method.
Yeah, I think I get that mixed up with silent period as well, because I think some students just have a time where they don't want to speak, which is the silent period, but the silent method. I think we did it once, or we had a demo of it from the trainer where there was just nothing said.
That's it.
Yeah, and we had to work out what the instructions were, and everything was just done by either writing on the board or... No, it wasn't even words, was it? It was literally just suggested
Yeah.
hand movements,
That's
that kind
it.
of thing.
And learning another language.
Yes.
What was it? Malaysian?
Yes, it was Malaysian. That was amazing. Yeah, from nothing,
Yeah.
from scratch. And
Absolutely.
having phrases at the end of it where you could actually say, I can't remember, what was it?
Was it Can I have some of these, please?
Something like that.
I remember
I totally had it by the end.
Was it not food or something? There were little, there was a bag of rice and an egg and something else, and we
Don't remember.
Am I just got false memories
sure,
now?
I don't know. Okay.
Okay. Ignore that bit. Okay, so
Can I give you one? Realia.
Oh yes, I like that. Yeah. So we learnt that it could be objects like real things, like this is a potato if you're teaching potato, or
Discuss.
Newspaper. Read the newspaper.
Yeah.
Exactly. That was good. I really liked that.
And I took that on board.
Did you?
Really important. Just show things. And it's great as a lead-in. Gets attention.
Is that why you're always walking around with a carrier bag full of stuff?
Yes.
That's a great
just
tip.
pull something out your bag. Talk about that.
I like it. Yeah, so they were just some of the interesting things that we looked at in the course. There were things like always remember to do the icebreaker, then do the lead-in, then teach something, and then summarise it. And I must be honest, I could never, ever remember to do the icebreaker. I would always walk in and I'd start immediately. And always my feedback was, what was the icebreaker? And I'd say, I was so nervous that I forgot to do it every single time.
Well, I have totally taken that from the CELTA. Icebreaker, lead-in, it's crucial.
Yeah.
I love it. I think you got to, get into it slowly, like you and your bath metaphor. You don't just jump in. You put your toe in.
That's
you
true.
Start, going slow.
That's a really good point.
What am I talking about? Anyway,
No idea.
Carry on.
Well, I think that was the main stuff, really. Like you said, I didn't really get to see the city, beautiful city. Didn't get to see it. I was just at home all the time trying to make sense of stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff that I'd never thought of. Like, why am I doing it? I just kept looking at myself. It was getting quite philosophical. Why am I doing? Why am I sitting here? Where am I?
Yeah, there's a lot of introspection, definitely. And then you kind of do it and you feel like you're bearing your soul to the world to analyse and pick apart. And that's good. It is something you go through. And I think once you've done it, it's going to set you up for the rest of your teaching career.
You mentioned guinea pigs. So
Yes.
these were local people who were given maybe a special discount to come and attend lessons with trainee
CELTA
teachers.
rate. So it was sort of, I don't know what you'd
They
liken it
they
to.
were an odd bunch, weren't they?
Like going to a restaurant where you got trainee chefs. You might get an amazing meal. You might get some food poisoning.
You might get it on your top.
Yeah, you're not guaranteed a great lesson, but they were so willing and up for it.
Yeah, I remember one of them I think he was in his 80s, and he was an absolutely fascinating man.
Yeah.
He was brilliant. Did you have a bit of an argumentative student?
I did. I think he was in there as a mole. I think he was working for the other side, to be honest, because he was very problematic and just created a lot of problems for me, like refused to do stuff. As a sort of trainee teacher, that's like the last thing you want is someone saying, I'm not interested in this topic, I don't want to do this.
Oh no. Well, that's what I wondered, if some of them end up doing present perfect for recently completed actions or activities. Like, I've lost my pen. How many times can they say that sentence? How many times can they be taught that sentence?
You mean because it was a discount rate, they were just doing the same course over and over and over?
I've studied used to 17 times now.
Yeah, but, it was fine. And after, I think the guy we're talking about came and just sort of nudged me and said, don't take it personally kind of thing. And I was just like, don't talk to me.
I'm too tired to be friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so really good experience. And as we mentioned, it often leads to jobs being available for you because you've got that CELTA qualification. I would definitely recommend people doing that if they're interested. Doing it online nowadays.
Oh, is it?
Could be an interesting experience too.
That is interesting. How would you do the demo then? You'd have to go on a platform and have the trainer watching you.
I guess that would be something similar like that, yeah. Could be a good experience for everybody.
Good, yeah.
So, unless you've got anything else you can remember, Em.
No, I think I've covered it all.
Okay, all right. Well, that's everything I've got. So, thank you to everybody for listening. And thank you to all the wonderful teacher trainers that we've had in the past. And we wish them all good luck.
Yeah, I still remember them fondly and really value the whole experience.
Definitely. All right. And so good luck, everybody listening. If you decide to do some training yourself, whatever it is, hope you enjoy it. Hope you get something out of it. Let us know. what training you're doing at the moment or what you're planning to do.
Good luck, everyone.
See you next week, Em.
Yep, it's a date. See ya.
Bye.